Hello and welcome back to the Grow to Save channel. All right, so today we're going to talk about how to start seeds. And a lot of times, as a beginner, it might be the easiest thing for you to go to a nursery and just buy plants that have already been started. Today is January 31st. I'm actually a little bit behind schedule. I should have done this probably a week or so ago. But a lot of the times when you go to those nurseries, they start them fairly early in the year, and then you have a pretty mature plant to go outside. Again, I live in Michigan, so I'm not going to be able to really put anything in the ground until about May. Um, that may be different where you live at. And the other thing is too is this skill is it keeps things very inexpensive. As you can see, these are literally just Rubbermaid containers with moist paper towels inside and some labels that I use with masking tape and just a Sharpie. So the whole principle behind this is you just want to get the seeds to be on a moist surface like this. They don't need to be drowning. There's a little bit of extra moisture in here, as you can see. Some of these kind of wiggling around a little bit. One of the other things is like once a big important thing that you got to realize is that this is a numbers game. Most of the time, gardening, even farming, I guess, is a numbers game, right? So some of these are going to sprout. They're going to be strong and great to start off with. Others are not. We're not going to use the weak ones. We're going to use only the strong ones. So having plenty in here is kind of the name of the game. Obviously, I don't intend to keep this many plants going throughout the year. Each one of these seeds could potentially be a plant. There's no way I'm going to be planting this much. But again, it's just a numbers game, right? And when these things start to germinate and they become, I would say, probably 2 or 3 inches tall, they're strong enough for you to handle and transplant. Chances are their root is going to have grown into the paper towel itself or the napkin or whatever, and you're gonna. It doesn't really matter if you need to cut it out with a scissors or use a knife or just your fingers and just kind of tear the napkin apart and keep that with the root. That's going to be fine. You just don't want to have these things so close together that when you start to try to break them apart later that you're tearing the tap roots, because if you're trying to save the strongest ones, I mean, again, that's kind of why this is a numbers game, right? In case you have any accidents. So as you can also see, as I'm starting these, I'm trying to keep my peppers separate from other things. I have these are not jalapenos. I call them jalapeno bombs. They're cross-pollinated pepper that I've been saving seeds since 2017. But I'm trying to see what kind of different varieties I can get from different generations. From the last peppers that I had from 2024 season that grew in 2025, the peppers looked slightly different than how I normally like to see them. So I'm going back as far as 2023. Also got some kale. These are orange Wellington hybrid tomatoes, and I got some Hatch green chili peppers that I've saved, as well as purple peppers. Another reason that you might decide that you want to start from seed versus go into a nursery is simply that you might not be able to find the variety that you're looking for at a nursery, and that's why you want to start from seeds, which is where you'd order some online or have some that you've saved over the years. Like I these Hatch green chili seeds are from Hatch peppers that I got from the store. And once again, obviously, nobody's selling jalapeno peppers. So I've got to keep those myself year after year. And these orange Wellington hybrid seeds, they tend to be, I think the last time I bought those seeds were like $8 or $9. So I just save the seeds every year for myself. And yeah, so it's really simple. You just, like I said, you just put the labels in, moist paper towel is good enough. And then I cover with cling wrap, and to try to keep it nice and moist in here. You don't want that evaporating. So cling wrap will do the trick. Again, really inexpensive. And then I'll show you what else to do here in just a moment. Okay, so what I would recommend, and this keeps this out of the way of where it's going to get kicked or anything like that. I've got kids. If you have pets or kids, or both, probably a good idea. But the other thing is if you don't already have one of these germination mats as a beginner, I would highly, highly, highly recommend this. They're fairly inexpensive, and I think I've had mine for probably going on 10 years now. You might even be able to start to see, yeah, there's a little bit, this has been plugged in, so it's a little bit warm, and you can start to see the moisture starting to kind of cloud up the plastic here, which is a good thing. So we will keep this here for and just check. You want to keep an eye on the moisture levels and the germination rates and everything. And every day, every other day, just check on them. You may even for a few hours pull back the plastic and let them kind of air out a little bit, because if it's too moist for too long, you start getting mildew and mold, and you don't want that for your plant babies. I mean, this is kind of think of this like a nursery, and you just want to provide a good, healthy environment, and a little bit of airflow can help with that. And you just obviously put a little bit more water back in there and keep the moisture up, and then cover them back up again. So within, I would say, week to 2 weeks, you should be able to move them into planter pods. After that, you'll be ready to transplant these sprouts into pods, and we'll talk about that when the time comes.